Title: Embracing Self-Hypocrisy, Navigating the Gray Areas of Human Nature. Introduction. What does it mean to be human? It's a question that has been asked for centuries, but one aspect we often overlook is how deeply complex and contradictory our nature can be. In our pursuit of ideals and standards, we often find ourselves caught in a tug-of-war between who we want to be and who we actually are. This book, Embracing Self-Hypocrisy, is a journey into those contradictions, the quiet hypocrisies we live with, often unaware, as we balance between our beliefs and our actions. What if we could approach our inconsistencies with curiosity instead of shame? What if acknowledging our imperfections allowed us to extend empathy to others, seeing in them the same struggles that we face? In the pages that follow, we'll look at the power of self-awareness, compassion, and how navigating these gray areas of human nature can ultimately help us grow into more understanding, connected, and fulfilled individuals. Chapter 1: Recognizing the Everyday Hypocrisies. Let's begin with a simple but revealing example: our dietary habits. How often do we find ourselves extolling the virtues of healthy eating, only to reach for that sugary treat when no one's watching or stress gets the better of us? We find ourselves judging others for not taking care of their health, while privately struggling with our own urges. We might feel hypocritical, but these moments reveal an essential truth: our ideals and actions are often in tension. In this chapter, we explore the everyday hypocrisies we experience and how they shape our view of ourselves and others. These moments may make us feel as though we're failing, but in reality, they reflect the complexity of human behavior. Embracing these small contradictions can lead us to a deeper understanding of our own motivations and help us extend grace to others who struggle similarly. Chapter 2: When Beliefs and Actions Clash. Beyond daily choices, we also experience contradictions in our personal beliefs and values. Consider how we align with ideologies, religions, or personal standards yet often fall short of practicing them in our daily lives. Maybe we identify as environmentally conscious, but rely on conveniences like disposable plastics, or drive when we could walk. Or perhaps we see ourselves as spiritual, but find it challenging to attend services regularly, or make time for personal reflection. This chapter delves into the subtle and overt ways our beliefs can clash with our actions. Here, we explore how upbringing, social pressures, and the realities of life impact our ability to stay consistent with our ideals. Far from being a weakness, these inconsistencies are reminders of our human struggle to balance who we are with who we want to be. Chapter 3: Understanding the Roots of Self-Hypocrisy. Why do we fall into these patterns? Why do we judge others for things we might also be guilty of? The roots of self-hypocrisy often lie in our deep-seated need for belonging, acceptance, and survival. Our behavior is shaped by personal history, subconscious fears, and often by the gap between our aspirations and our realities. In this chapter, we dig into the psychology of self-hypocrisy, examining how and why our beliefs and behaviors can sometimes be at odds. This exploration is not about justifying hypocrisy, but about understanding the factors that contribute to it. By unpacking our inner contradictions, we learn how societal norms, personal experiences, and internal conflicts influence our actions, often without us even realizing it. Chapter 4: The Balancing Act Between Judgment and Empathy. Our self-hypocrisy doesn't only affect our perception of ourselves, it also influences how we judge others. How often do we hold others to standards we don't consistently meet ourselves? It's easy to judge people based on their actions, while ignoring our own occasional missteps. This balancing act between judgment and empathy is a subtle and often unconscious dance, one that can strain relationships and color our worldview. In this chapter, we look at how embracing our own inconsistencies can help us develop a greater sense of empathy for others. By recognizing that we, too, are a work in progress, we open ourselves up to understanding rather than condemning the imperfections of those around us. Chapter 5: Perceptions and the Complexity of Others. Human beings are quick to make judgments based on appearances and actions. Yet, just as our behavior is complex, so is that of others. We often assume we understand someone's motivations based on surface observations, but the truth is we only see a fraction of their story. Just as we battle our own inconsistencies and inner conflicts, others face battles we may never understand. In this chapter, we explore how acknowledging our limitations in understanding others can lead us to greater empathy. By examining how we perceive and sometimes misjudge people, we come to see that everyone has layers of complexity. Recognizing this can help us approach our relationships and encounters with curiosity rather than assumptions. Chapter 6: Self-Awareness and the Path to Inner Harmony. So, how do we reconcile these contradictions within ourselves? The first step is self-awareness. Through honest reflection and self-inquiry, we can acknowledge our flaws without shame. Self-awareness helps us see our actions with clarity, providing us with the tools to align our behavior with our values and make room for growth. In this chapter, we'll dive into practices that nurture self-awareness and mindfulness, exploring how these tools can help us manage our self-contradictions. By embracing these methods, we begin to cultivate harmony within ourselves and understand our own motivations, allowing us to approach others with greater compassion. Chapter 7: Embracing compassion for ourselves and others. Recognizing our inner contradictions is only the beginning. True growth comes from extending compassion, not only to others but to ourselves. As we accept our own limitations, we also make room for empathy, recognizing that everyone is struggling to balance ideals and realities. We can replace judgment with understanding, learning to accept that everyone, ourselves included, is doing the best they can. In this chapter, we focus on how compassion serves as the bridge between self-awareness and connection. By embracing our imperfections, we free ourselves from the need to appear flawless, and can engage with others in a more authentic, meaningful way. Chapter 8: The Journey of Self-Discovery and Acceptance. Embracing self-hypocrisy is not a one-time act, but an ongoing journey. Accepting the messiness of our human nature is challenging, but also liberating. It allows us to move forward with curiosity and resilience, learning from our mistakes and evolving as individuals. Self-discovery is a lifelong process, one that opens doors to deeper connections with ourselves and others. In this final chapter, we reflect on the lessons learned throughout this book, inviting you to view your own contradictions as opportunities for growth. Embracing self-hypocrisy isn't about lowering our standards or giving up on self-improvement. It's about accepting that we're human, that we're complex, and that our inconsistencies are part of what makes us uniquely us. Conclusion: a life of embracing, understanding, and growing. As we close, let's reflect on the journey of understanding and embracing our self-hypocrisy. Our contradictions are not flaws to hide from but truths to be acknowledged. By welcoming them, we open ourselves to greater empathy, deeper connections, and a life of continual self-discovery. May we all embrace our complexities and contradictions, not as burdens, but as guideposts toward a more compassionate and authentic existence. Let this book be a reminder that we are not defined by our inconsistencies, but by our commitment to understanding, growing, and living in alignment with our truest selves.